Okay. Hello. Hello. Am I audible, Sharory? Hello. 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 Okay. Let us start our today's session. So today we are going to see the our second unit, that is metal forming process. In previous lecture, we have seen the first unit, that is casting. In that, we have seen the what is casting, the different types of casting, different components of the casting. Now, today we are going to see the metal forming process. So, what happens in metal forming process? So, in this, what normally happens? The forming is nothing but changing the shape of existing solid body or workpiece. That means in metal forming process, it is helpful us to produce various items. Okay, in this in metal forming process, the metal is shaped by applying different stresses like compression, tension, shear, or combined stress to cause the plastic deformation of material. Okay, but in this metal forming process, there is no any material is removed. Okay, so the wastage of material is less in metal forming processes. In this, what happens, only the material is displaced and deforms in metal forming processes. Okay, so here we'll see further. Okay, because all the material cannot be casted. Okay, that's why the metal forming is process is there. Okay, so here you can see, here the initial ingot is there, that is raw material is there. Okay, then one rolling action is there, hot rolling is there. Okay, so there are different classifications of there of forming processes. So out of that, the one is hot working and second one is cold working, that we'll see in our upcoming slide. But let us see what happens in metal forming process initially. Okay, so here you can see that in this the force is applied. That means what happens here, on both the side here the rollers rolls are there. Okay, so on the both sides rollers are there, and this material is pushed under a hot rolling. Okay, due to this, what happens, whatever the grains are there, these grains are initially deformed, and by deforming, what happens, the new grains are formed, and later the you can see over here the uniform grains are formed. Okay, that means over here the recrystallization completes. Okay, so recrystallization, normally the recrystallization temperature is there. Okay, so recrystallization temperature is nothing but the minimum temperature at which the formation of new crystal has been completed is known as a recrystallization temperature. Okay, so this is what the recrystallization is over here. If you see the grains, they are uniform shape is over here, which is not over here regular. It is having a large grains initially, and after recrystallization and after rolling action, what happens, these grains deforms and elongates, and it forms a new grains which is uniform over here. Okay, so here, force is applied on metal or material such that stress induced in material greater than the yield stress and less than the ultimate stress of material, so that material is stock take deforming and we get a required shape. Okay, so next slide you can see the examples. Okay, here this is what the our workpiece is there, and after rolling action or after performing hot working or cold working we'll get such shape. Okay, so here what happens, such shape of die is there. Okay, or many times what happens, rollers uses, so in that this bloom is pushed into that roller, and after that we'll get such different shapes, like this is eye section, eye channel, this is rail beam. These are produced by this bloom. And whatever the plates and coils, these are also produced by metal forming process, and its raw material of workpiece is a slab. And whatever the rectangular bars or circular rods or whatever the rods is there, these are formed by using a billet. Okay, so these are some examples of a metal forming process. Now let us see the advantages of metal forming processes. So first, no wastage of material, grain orientation is possible, time taken for producing a component is less, therefore the production rate is higher. If we see over here, whatever the workpiece is there, we are just pushing it into the required shape. Okay, that's why there is no any metal cutting is there, so less wastage is there. And grain reorientation, whatever the grain is there, it is reoriented to a, after recrystallization, so it forms a uniform, so grain orientation is also possible. And whatever the time taken is there to produce a component is less in the metal forming processes compared to if you compare a casting. So casting take more time, because what we do in casting, we heat the material then pour into a cavity, so to solidify it takes more time. So compared to the casting, the time taken to produce a component in metal forming process is less. That's why whatever the production of rate is there, production rate is there, it is higher in metal forming processes. Okay. Now let us see the disadvantages. So the first disadvantage is that force and energy requirement is higher. Second, mostly used for only uniform cross section. Okay. So if you see over here, so to to recrystallize the grains. Okay. So for that, what we need, we are supposed to use a force and energy on this raw material. So force and energy required is higher in metal forming process. And if you see, the metal forming process is mostly uses for a uniform shape. If suppose the shape is going to vary in between, at that time you cannot use the metal forming processes. Okay, these are two disadvantages of metal forming processes. Now let us see the classification of forming process. So first, that is hot working, and second, cold working. So here, what is hot working? Okay, so if we see, this hot working is nothing but it is the process of plastically deform a metal under such conditions of temperature that strain rate, that is recovery and recrystallization, occur immediately after deformation. Okay, that means whatever the temperature is there in which is in a hot working, the temperature of hot working, that is it is more than a recrystallization temperature, and the recrystallization temperature is nothing but the minimum temperature at which the formation of new crystal has been completed. And this recrystallization temperature is normally one third to half melting point of melting point temperature of that material. Okay, so let us see the difference between cold working and the hot working. And if we see the cold working, in cold working the temperature of the material is kept below the recrystallization temperature. Okay, so let us see the difference between these two. Okay, so first difference is that the temperature of hot working is that it is more than recrystallization temperature, and temperature of cold working is less than the recrystallization temperature. And here, that is, the metal is heated above the recrystallization temperature, hence the force which is applied is called as a hot working. Okay, and in this, the metal is heated below the recrystallization temperature, and the force which is applied over here is called as actually cold working is there. So spelling mistake is there. So in this, there is a formation of there is no any formation of internal residual stress because its temperature is more than recrystallization temperature. And here there is a formation of internal residual stress occurs in cold working. And if we see the surface finish point of view, the hot working surface finish is poor compared to a cold working. Okay, in cold working it is having a excellent surface finish and it is having a excellent dimensional accuracy than a hot working. Okay, so this is what about the difference between hot working and cold working. Now let us see the different metal forming processes. Here, first one is rolling, second one two band wire drawing, third one forging, fourth one extrusion. So let us see one by one. Okay, so first that is rolling is there. In rolling, what happens? In rolling, the material is compressed in between two rotating rollers. Okay, due to this, what happens? Whatever the thickness of sheet is there, it is reduced initially from H0 to H1. Okay, that means this rolling operation is performed to compress the sheet. That means if we want, let us see in this, let us take the example over here. If our raw material is having a 10 thickness or 15 thickness and our requirement is that 3 sheet, we want a 3 sheet. So at that time, we use the rolling processes. Okay, in this what happens, roller A and roller B is there. These are rotated against each other and in between them, the raw material sheet is pushed. And here, to get the required thickness, the distance is that much distance is maintained between these two rollers. Okay, that means if suppose we want 5 thickness of sheet, so 5 distance is maintained between these two rollers. Okay, so this is what happens in a rolling. And further, you can see the how the recrystallization occurs. Okay, so here you can see on the top one roller is there, bottom another roller is there, and here uh, workpiece is there having H0 thickness. Okay, so here you can see the grains are there which is having large grain size, and this sheet is pushed through this roller. And here whatever the crystallization shape you can see. Okay, here the grains are elongated, and when it comes out of the roller, you can see that the whatever the grains are there, they are uniform in size. Okay, this is what happens in rolling. Okay, sheet is there whenever in a exam ask, at that time you are supposed to draw this diagram. Okay, that is first roller is there, second roller, and in between you are supposed to push the sheet and you are supposed to show the direction of traveling and also the direction of roller. Okay, so in such a way you are supposed to show the roller its rotating direction and also you are supposed to show the direction of travel of the sheet. Okay, now let us see the types of these rolling mills. So there are different types of rolling mills are there, that is two high mills, three high mills, which normally uses for initial or intermediate passes during hot rolling. And apart from these two high mill and three high mill, there are many different rolling mills are there. That is four high mills, cluster mills, which is used for a final passes. Okay, and if we see these two arrangements in this, these are mostly preferred for a cold rolling, because in this whatever the rolls which are there that we will see in our upcoming slide, they are backed up by the rolls, which minimizes the deflection and produces the better tolerance. Okay, let us see. Okay, so here you can see the different types of roller. First one is 2 high, 3 high, 4 high, then cluster mill, and then tandem mill. Okay, so here these two roller mills, that is 2 high and 3 high. So this uses for initial and intermediate pass during hot rolling. For hot rolling purpose, this 2 high mill and the 3 high mill rolling mill uses. And whatever the next roll mills are there, that is 4 high mills and cluster mills, these are uses for a cold rolling. Okay, because these are supported by a rolls, by a backup rolls, which minimizes the deflection and which produces a better tolerance. Okay, now next we'll see the drawing. Okay, so here you can see there are two classifications are there, that is wire drawing and tube drawing is there. Okay, so here we'll see about drawing. Okay, so let us see about drawing. Okay, so here you can see that wire drawing is there. Wire drawing is nothing but the method of producing a wire from rod is called as a wire drawing processes. Okay, so in this you can see the next diagram over here. Okay, so here one die is there, and here the material is allowed to flow through this die, and here the pull action is performed. Due to that, what happens, we'll get a wire from the rod. Okay, so wire drawing is nothing but the method of producing a wire from rod is called as a wire drawing processes. Okay, now next we'll see the tube drawing. So here you can see the tube drawing. Okay, so here the both the process are same, that is wire drawing and tube drawing, but the different is that at the center if you see the plug is there. Okay, no doubt the die is over here, here is also die present. Okay, but here if you see the wire is there, that means it is solid, and here tube you are supposed to get a tube shape. Okay, so this process is used for change the internal diameter and reduce the thickness of the tube. Okay, so here you can see that. Okay, that is floating plug is there, and many times mandrels are also uses to get a tube. Okay, so here you can see in further diagram the detail die is there, and here you can see the stationary mandrel is there at the center. Okay, so in a such a way we will get a tube shape or tube type material. Now you can see the diagram over here. Now next let us see the process that is extrusion. Okay, so here the extrusion is a process in which the metal is reduced in a cross section by forcing it through a die. Okay, so this process is like you can see that squeezing the toothpaste from a tube. Okay, so in this the cylindrical bar and other complex solid shapes and the hollow cross sections are produced by using a extrusion. Okay, So here there are different types of extrusions are there, that is forward extrusion, backward extrusion, impact extrusion, and hydraulic extrusion. Okay, so let us see first of all the extrusion process over here. Okay, so in this you can see it is the process where the raw material is compressed in a closed container so that this compressive force act for all the direction, and the whatever the flow stress is there, it is induced in the material, and the deformed material is forced to flow through the small openings. Okay, this is what happens in a extrusion process. Okay, now let us see the first type, that is forward extrusion. So here what happens, whatever the metal is there, it flows only in the same direction. And here you can see that at the front such different dies are kept over here. You will get such different shape by using this forward extrusion process. Okay, now next we will see the backward extrusion. This is also called as direct extrusion. Okay, that is direct extrusion or forward extrusion. And second type is indirect extrusion or backward extrusion. So in this you can see over here, as we are pushing this die against the stationary over here. Okay, and in this process we are moving a die. Here the die is stationary, but in this we are moving a die. Okay, and here the metal flows in the opposite direction of the ram. Here the metal is flowing in the direction of the ram. Okay, and in this backward extrusion, the material is flowing against the direction of ram, that is against the that means it is against the opposite direction of the ram. This is the difference. Now next let us see next type, that is impact extrusion. Okay, so here in this you can see in impact extrusion, here you can see the blank is there, and here the load is applied on this blank, and you will get such a required shape. So this is impact extrusion. In impact extrusion, the impact load is applied on the material, which is that material is deformed and will get the required shape. Okay, so in this whatever the collapsible tubes are there for paste are extruded by this method. Okay, this is what the part which is produced by the impact extrusion. Okay, so let us see the next, that is forging. Okay, if we see whatever the forged parts are there, which is widely uses in automobiles. Okay, because it has some advantages. Okay, so let us see what is a forging. Okay, it is important in it mostly uses in a automobile industries, the forged parts. Okay, so let us see about the forging. So here you can see that the forging is a process in which the heated work material is deformed in between two dies, either application of continuous and uniform force or number of repetitive strokes. If we see in Pune, the Bharat Forge is company is there, Bharat Forge in Kondwa. So in that company, mostly this process occurs, that is the forging. Okay, and here what happens, the shape is given to a heated work material. Okay, so that means the die is used in this of having a required shape, and after that the workpiece is kept, and after that this ram is applied, the force is applied on this workpiece, and after that we'll get the required shape of product or part. Okay, so let us see in next example, that is in a drop one forging is there, that is drop forging. So here you can see that here the required part is there. Okay, the shape of part is there, and this shape is given for the die. Okay, top part and bottom part. Okay, this shape is for a required part. So in a drop forging here, the process which uses a closed compression dies to compress the metal, and it cause to flow and fill the die cavity. That means suppose here, let us say the initial shape of the workpiece is like this, okay, which is having hot metal, okay. So giving the heat to this workpiece, it is kept above this bottom die, again stationary die, and after that, what happens? The force is applied from a ram. So that what happens due to this due to this forcing action, whatever the cavity is there, this cavity is filled by a this cavity is filled by a this material, so that will get this required shape. Okay, this is what mentioned over here in a forging. Okay, now let us see some of the defects are there in forging. If we see the example of this forging, the examples are like connecting rod, okay, normally which uses in IC engine. This is the example of a forging. Okay, whatever the connecting rod which we see in a IC engine, those connecting rods are made up by a forging process. Okay, so many times in MCQ ask that is for manufacturing a connecting rod, which process uses, and in that they give a different option like casting, forging. So at that time you are supposed to select this operation forging. Okay, whatever the connecting rod automobile parts are there, these are for to manufacture those parts, forging process uses. Okay, so now let us see some forging defects. Okay, so there are many different defects are there in forging, and if we see, there are two types of forgings are there. That is, one is press forging and second is drop forging. So in drop forging, as you can see that the hammering is occur, but in press forging there is no hammering process occurs. Okay, so if we see this drop forging is this drop forging is cheaper compared to press forging, because you are supposed to release the force, and due to gravity some more force is added into this hammering action. Okay, so this drop forging is cheaper compared to press forging, but this drop forging is normally uses for small parts, and press forging is there which uses for a large parts. Okay, if we see in a Bharat Forge, they mostly uses a press forging. Okay, because they are mostly they manufacture a large parts, that's why they use a press forging. Okay, and if we see, as I said, that for large parts press forging uses, over there high pressure is required, and this drop forging, it works on low pressure also. Okay, so this is what about the metal forming process. And let us see the defects which occurs in forging. So here, if we see, there are different defects occur, that if there is incorrect raw material or improper heating or improper process is used, due to this these following defects occur. That is improper structure, cold shut, scale pit, unfilled section, mismatching, overheated metal. Okay, these are some defects which occurs in forging, and the reason is that if raw material is not correct, if it is not heated properly, or the process is not proper, Due to these condition, these following defects occurs in a forging. Okay, so that's it. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Yes, any doubt is there? Firoz, Pranav, Shelar.
No, sir.
Okay, I will do one thing. I will share the attendance sheet on your group. Just mark your attendance. Okay. So here we have finished your second unit. Okay, and one more thing, that is I have also shared the Google Classroom code on your group, so that you can join the Google Classroom code and access the material. Okay, so today we are going to stop over here. Thank you and take care.